I don't think Sandy gets headphones.
Well, Erik is still in Never Never Land, but we've got a house full of music men and a couple of lovely ladies. It's Curtain Call with Erik Ball.
Is there any way that I can get one of those so you can share these? Is that possible?
Well, it's just too... Yeah,
How is everyone doing today? It's Glenn here. I've got the Roam today, and my camera setup is completely jacked. So the YouTube video of our wonderful show will be a little bit different today. We've got our special guest host, Jenn De La Torre, visiting us today. Say hello, Jen.
Hello, it's good to be back.
Yeah, and we've got a number of wonderful guests in today, a musical trifecta for the Las Vegas theater community. And want to introduce all of them to you guys listening out there. We've got Sandy Stein, and if you want to say anything, you do have to actually...
Hello.
Yeah, not a whole lot to hear, but certainly if you want to be heard, you need to talk to the mic, Sandy. I'm sure you knew that.
I probably figured that out.
Yeah, and then we've got Jeff Strong and lovely Brianna Daughtry, who's just here for giggles.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And then hiding out in the corner, Mr. Arles Estes.
Hello, hello.
I want to thank all of you guys for coming in. We've been trying to do some different things with the show to do more than just talk about the shows that are in town and review things. And we do that as well. But we've been trying to get different people in to talk about what they do for theater in town. And you three came to mind because I've worked with all three of you before, and I wanted to get you guys to talk about the wonderful stuff you do. I'm going to play a track, and I got some music from you guys before, and so I know which ones are yours, Jeff, but because the recording just labeled them track 1, track 2, track 3, I kind of screwed up, so we're just going to go in order.
I'll give you credit for it if it sounds good.
Yeah.
All right.
Now, Arles, this is from Danny and the Deep Blue Sea?
Indeed it is.
Okay. How long is this one? 12 minutes?
Like 2 and change.
Okay. I'm going to put all these tracks on the website as well, so that the audience can actually pirate them.
Cool.
And
This is in my patented drunken trumpet style.
okay. You did this
like
for
Arles, I can tell.
again. This was a piece that you did for Danny and the Deep Blue Sea 3 years ago.
Between 2 and 3, I think. I'm not good with dates.
Okay, and it was for the Fringe Festival, or
Not to my knowledge. It was just up at the what was that place called? Where Cockroach lived before they have their home now. The Creative Studios.
oh, okay,
Yeah.
the Loftworks area. Okay,
That's it.
nice little piece. What was the show about?
It was two kind of tortured people living in New York trying to find somebody that could tolerate them, and pretty much they were the only 2 people maybe in the world that could tolerate each other because they were so broken.
And how many different pieces of music did you create for
that show?
Yeah.
That was the biggest one, and I think there were 3 or 4 more that were much more minimal, still with that kind of sound in it. The drunken, quote unquote, drunken trumpet style I thought worked for that because I don't practice trumpet much anymore. So
now that is all of your music. You're actually playing those instruments.
Yeah, it's layers of trumpet and a valve trombone.
Okay. And that's something unique that I know that you do. That's a little bit different than from what stuff that Jeff does. And Sandy, you're a hodgepodge of things. You'll synthesize. You'll play some things.
Yeah.
And that's why getting the 3 of you, your collective minds, because a lot of people who listen to the show don't even consider sometimes adding music. And for me, it's one of those things like when I go to the movies. If I don't hear the music, I actually go and find the music later on, because when the music's overpowering in something, it detracts from what you're watching. But when it's really part of the story, another character, you almost don't know it's there. So and I'm a junkie for John Williams and Danny Elfman, and my latest one is Spanish composer Roque Baños, who is kind of somewhere in between the two of them. And
shows us he does.
The only ones that I can think of, there was Carnival. It was a bizarre, clowns killing people at a. I've never seen the movie, but he's done 40 or 50 scores over the years, and he sounds like Hans Zimmer every once in a while here, and sounds like John Williams over there. So he's got a real interesting eclectic style, which I'm leaving the camera on Sandy because I'm gonna because Sandy has an eclectic style as well, and Arles, both you and Sandy were featured. I guess in Desert Companion or Seven magazine.
Desert Companion.
I wrote it down. Yeah, and both of you for being able to add your uniqueness to shows. And I wrote some ones down that Arles, you had done music for Twelfth Night, Neighborhood. I wrote Neighborhood too.
The sequel.
The sequel. Yeah, you did Neighborhood 3, Dead Man's Cell Phone. And you also just straight out performed in Assassins and Trailer Park the Musical, a number of
Dog
things.
Sees God.
I've got Rent, Sweeney Todd, and Dog Sees God as well. And for some reason, everything I printed disappeared in the last week for Sandy and Jeff. I've noticed. Yeah, it's it's just Arles' show today. No, and Sandy, I'm going to put the camera back on. Sandy.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm having to do everything, and I'm upset because I lost the cables that go to the one camera, so I can't push my little buttons over here and just switch the angles. So I have to play audio and video technician today. Sandy, you've done a number of shows, and you've kind of kept quiet and out on the fringe, doing music. You did a lot of shows for Insurgo.
Oh, yeah.
And, now that...
That's gone. Just say it.
It's gone.
No.
What brought you into doing that? Because you used to be in a hair band back in the early 80s.
Oh, yeah. I was a big hair band guy back in the day.
And you play... bass guitar and rhythm guitar.
I was a lead guitar player, keyboard player.
Oh, okay.
In a band for many, many years, and
maybe you heard of them? A group called Quiet Riot.
Yeah, right. Right, but as the days progressed, after that happened, I was actually doing I was a singer for a disco show for many, many years at Harris. Got out of that, got into the improv community for a while, as you and I know each
Yes,
other from that.
that's where you and I met. Yeah.
Yep. And from there, started doing more acting, and started doing it when I got more into the more acting stuff with Cannibal the Musical.
Right.
Which you and I performed together.
The very, very first. And Sandy was, I think, the only actor that was in every single performance of that show in Vegas.
Yes, actually all 3 runs. I was the only one left.
Yep.
Nobody else wanted
The rest of us bailed.
Yeah, pretty much. But I had the funnest role.
You did.
So what can I say?
And you certainly owned it. So.
But,
Sandy played guitar when I did hang.
Yes, I did. I played
Hedwig
bass and
and
Hedwig and the Angry Inch. That was an awesome
That's right.
Yes, that was fun. But as far as getting into it, all started with Insurgo, just doing a couple of sound designs for Brandon McClanahan. My first full-on design was probably RUR, which you performed in.
Right.
And from then on, it just kind of like...
Well, he used... And that's something I'm going to ask the 3 of you as well. And we'll go through, and Jeff will hit you in a moment here.
Not too hard.
That's right. But I know because of RUR, Brandon used a lot of music from the group called The Knife. And did he want you to incorporate some of their sound into the backing tracks, or did he just let you go with it?
No, I pretty much... Everything that I've done with Brandon has all been completely on the fly, just me and my synthesizers, Pro Tools 9, whatever program I was using back then. And just fit
Audacity.
Yeah, whatever sounded good at the time. Combination of the 3 different programs, putting something.
The audience is just like, what?
But no, he there was with Brandon, he'll tell me what what he wants. It's like he'll say, this is this kind of sense that I need. This is the idea, and then we'll just kind of like just go at it and send him a couple MP3s, and if he liked it, we'll just keep it. Or we'll just go back and figure it out till we were both happy with what we came up with.
Yeah, and we've got a couple of tracks that we'll play through here in a moment that you did for Hamlet, and that's the most recent one that you did for Troy Hurd and production table 12, table 6, table 8. I don't know how many tables Troy has now, but a very good production of Hamlet, very condensed and very powerful. And that was one where the music actually, I did notice it because there were interludes where it was needed.
I actually did, I think, 20 original pieces for that.
Okay.
Something like that. A lot of just like stuff, transition stuff, scene to the next scene, but there are some scenes that actually, we weren't sure how it was going to work because, you know, a lot of theater companies don't actually like having music playing during certain scenes. Do they think it might take away from the actor or what's going on, what they're trying to convey? But in this case, it seemed that it actually kind of brought out the actor's emotions from the music. Okay. So during the course of the rehearsals and finally in the run. So that was kind of fun.
And that goes back to what I was saying, you know, where the music itself is another character in the production. Jeff, it's good to see you again. It's been almost a year since I've seen both you and Brianna.
Oh, wow, it's been a year.
Yeah. The three of us were in Avenue Q a year ago. A lot of fun. And come to find out, you know, Jeff... ended up being our music director for the most part.
After 2 or 3 other people, that's kind of evolved into that.
And though we can't swear on the radio, listening to "You Can Be the Loud as the Heck You Want" in some of the other songs may have driven a couple of the music directors away from that. But Jeff, you do something unique that I don't think anyone else. Yeah, certainly not around here does.
As far as I know, I don't think I have yet to hear of anybody else who does this. It's for musical theater productions who either don't have the space or they don't have the funds for a live orchestra, which can be very expensive. I will actually create fully orchestrated backing tracks for any production that a licensing company has for available through like R&H or MTI musicals. I'll create full, and the most recent one was actually Seussical down at the Henderson Pavilion.
And they actually used your tracks. And I think I have...
I think I gave you one of those. I think I gave you the opening number for that one, or at least a 30-second to a minute cut of it. But yeah, it's I think it's interesting because I know that some theater companies do prefer, like, you know, if they can, they'll get like a karaoke track, or like, you know, they'll go on iTunes or go to the karaoke store and buy like the CD and then try to use that.
Right.
Which is
what we did for a little while with Avenue Q.
We did that for a little while.
Yeah.
But there are a number of shows that either there are no karaoke tracks available, or the tracks that are available don't include like vamps, or there are transition scenes that have underscoring.
Or they keep saying rehearsal tracks.
That does happen too.
I call her Pam.
Yeah, Pam. I think we have a track, and I'll make sure I bring it up here properly. So let's hear what we got here.
Yeah, this is the one.
Sorry.
Level.
Excellent.
Wow.
So the performance that was done, Poor Richard's Players, or was it?
It was Ragtag.
Oh, it was Ragtag.
It was through Ragtag.
Through Ragtag. Ben Lowy directed it.
Ben Lowy directed it, yes.
And so you put together the entire backing score for Seussical.
I did. For the entire, not the entire score. It was a bit of a reduced orchestration.
Oh, okay.
But it's still, I was able to pick and choose in order to meet the budget that they had. I gave them a list. I said, well, here are out of the I think there's 17 or 18 instruments in the pit. And I said, well, here's 10. Here are the 10 that I think will fill out the score the best. And it had it had the 3 keyboards, a guitar, a trumpet, a trombone, couple of reed instruments. And it did. It sounded really good.
And I saw the show opening night, and despite other sound issues,
yes.
the music was great. And how is it that you're able to do that? I mean, you get the conductor score. I
get the conductor score, and along with all the other instrument books. So I'm.
I mean, are you able to scan those in and have?
Nope, I don't actually. I've tried using it. I've tried using it before. I've tried using with the finale, which I'm sure you guys are.
And it doesn't work very well.
They're scanning. They're almost there.
Yeah.
I think they're almost there, but because I don't want to knock them, because I love the finale people. They're good people over at Make Music. But I will drag and drop. I will drop and click every single note, and that's mostly for just the keyboard parts.
Okay.
But for everything else, I go into Sonar, another MIDI editing program, and I will do another drag and drop for MIDI, and I use a number of different sample libraries that I've acquired over the last few years. And it's definitely taken a toll on my wallet, but I think the investment and the payoff has been more than worthwhile.
Well, you were looking for the complete Queen of England's. I'm trying to remember. There was a year ago. You were looking to get the entire.
I'm always looking to get entire scores to everything.
No, all the various music samples.
There's
the Encyclopedia Britannica.
There's one called the Vienna Symphonic Library.
That's the one.
And that's the one. I will say this, after going through a number of different orchestral library samples, they are the best one. For me, at least. I don't know if anybody else has found that Project Sam is any better versus just this one comes in the box. Here you go. But they're the best. They everything that they do is recorded from a live musician, and then they will edit it to make it readily available so that I can click on a note, or I can hook up my keyboard and play a note at different velocities depending on how hard I hit the key, and it will just create this amazing sound.
So it doesn't sound like an 8-bit Super Mario game.
Right, it doesn't sound like the old Nokia cell phones.
Right.
Remember those with the bricks? Yeah.
Jeff, you have a website, www.jeffstrongmusic.com. All one word, JEFF, strong as in muscle, and music as in music. .com. And there's a few other samples on there, and I've got 3 more that you provided for me that we'll be able to listen to. And fantastic. I want to play one from Sandy's because it's very unique music that you did for Hamlet than what you've done for RUR. You did some for Nutcracker as well?
Yeah, I did all of it for Nutcracker.
Yeah, and we're still waiting for your album, by the way. Because you have enough music to put an album together. Let me see here. I think...
This might be the main title, probably.
Try not to blare your guys'...
Oh, this is this is the scene...
I've slowed it down.
It was the scene between Hamlet and Gertrude. The conflict building. Crazy.
Yeah, this is like behind the scenes, so you feel free to talk through... what did you go through? Because Troy had a specific vision that he wanted... to really have the dark aspect of Hamlet, and everything was...
This is the turning point when he really cracks, just loses it completely. Up until then, he's been really subtle regarding his confrontation with his mom, just being smart-assy, so how I could say that, being kind of a kid that's been bad in school, but to this point, he pretty much just says, listen, I know what you did, it's disgusting, I hate you now, and it just builds intensity during this whole scene.
And then the entire explosion on stage.
And there's a ghost that comes back in before this part.
And it's very it's very modern, very musical score. And theater doesn't necessarily get that a lot. Especially in what we see, coming through the Smith Center, it's all very purposeful as far as it's part of the musical itself, as opposed to taking Hamlet, which is certainly not a musical.
Well, it's nice about the fact that it's... What's cool about doing the old stuff like Shakespeare is when you bring it to a forefront like what Troy did, making it a modern version of it. I mean, the possibilities are just forever for the music because it's not like this is how it's supposed to be. This is the music it's supposed to be. Like it's not like it's a period piece to where it has to be in that particular time frame. So this basically just the music pretty much just depended upon the emotion that was going on during that scene, and that's what happened here.
And with the music that you did for Hamlet, was everything in this similar vein, or? Yeah, because I'm trying to remember because I do remember
all of it's
some of this
minor
music.
Key. Everything's pretty much minor key, intense,
very depressing,
very depressing, and kind of like thinking like his whole thing. What he told me in the beginning of the show was picture yourself on a cold winter day, ice, freezing cold. So I mean, pretty much just most of my stuff was like. Picture myself sitting in a pond feeding the ducks, freezing my butt off, homeless, depressed, so that's pretty much. But there was one piece that I didn't include that we actually didn't end up using. It was a funny comical scene. Remember with Rosencrantz and Guildenstern? They came out.
Oh, they're hilarious.
Yeah, they came out with a little bit of, hey, what's up, kind of. And I did this kind of like French Prince kind of a thing. Don't. He was like, no. But the last night I put it in.
Oh, awesome.
I put it in there and there was laughing.
Now, what is it that, what is your process? I mean, Jeff, your process very straightforward.
Right.
This is the musical score. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure you're capable of doing some original work and modifications. As well. But Sandy, I've seen some of your setup in your house, and you've got instruments everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, got cellos, violins, mostly keyboards.
What's your process? I mean, how do you start with your inspiration?
What I normally do is I'll go to the rehearsal, kind of like get a feel what the scene's all about, kind of get emotions from what the actors are drawing out, take notes, whatever. Go home, think about it, and get on my piano and just like start writing pieces of music that feels for that thing, and then we'll just build on that, add the strings, horns, flutes, whatever needs to be in that piece. And I'll just sometimes, if it's long, I'll try to make it long so I can just edit it down because I need to. So if it's only like a 2-minute piece, write it 3.5, little sections, and then kind of make it to where it fits nicely into that particular scene.
Do you have anything upcoming that you're working on?
Actually, I don't know if I should say this or not, but McClanahan and I are going to be doing Clockwork Orange.
Ooh.
For a new theater company.
The musical.
It's going to
the
be
musical.
Well, I don't know what the musical. What's going to be?
Clockwork Orange, the musical.
It's pretty much. It's going to be.
Is it really?
It's going to be nuts. It's going to be really.
And there goes the camera.
But it's going to be really, really intense. So I'm looking forward to that because nothing really pretty, or it's like some stuff you've heard be really ballady and pretty, kind of like classically. But this is going to be more like nightmarish. It's like really kind of sick and disgusting sounds.
I knew Brandon was starting up something, and I'm trying to get him in here. I'm actually trying to get 3 Brandons in at the same time.
Wow, that'd be cool.
So
interesting interview. Hey, Brandon, yes.
Yeah, and that's just because I'm a total whatever. I'm trying to coordinate Brandon Burke, Brandon Jones, and Brandon McClanahan all at the same time. So if the 3 of you are listening, yes, I do want you all in.
I plugged your show there for you, Brandon.
Yeah, and now somebody else is gonna get the rights for it first, because that's what happens in Vegas. Arles, you've been very busy since you've come into town, and you've been how long have you been in town?
We just passed 4 years.
Okay,
so
and you've been busy since day one.
The first year, it took a year to meet anybody. It took a year to meet anybody and find any artists. And
have you found any?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes. And as we all know, it's much easier to find them now than it was 4 years ago. There's 4 or 5 times as much activity going on as there was back then. Side note, one of the first 2 shows that I saw in Las Vegas was Cannibal at the Stage Door.
Oh,
and
yeah?
I didn't know who you were until like a year ago, but it was like getting kicked in the chest for an hour and a half. It was so funny.
Glenn and I had some fun with
that.
that.
Later on, I found out your name.
In fact, I still have Glenn's jacket. You have to autograph for me still.
What's that?
Your bloody jacket that I still
Oh, yeah.
all the cannibal stuff that I still have.
Yeah.
I got the teepee in the backyard. The cat's playing.
I have a few random body parts. I have Humphrey's finger that I bit off every night. Yeah.
That's great.
It's good for Halloween.
And I have a big severed foot somewhere. Cannibal was a lot of fun, and the Stage Door was certainly an interesting place for it. My character wasn't funny enough to kick you in the teeth, apparently. So, now, Arles, because I've worked with you on a few shows, 12th Night and Sweeney being two in particular. What is your process as far as, because Trailer Park and Sweeney, the music's there, but you had to do some adaptations for Sweeney, or at least for providing us with tracks
those
to use.
Those are vastly different tasks.
Yeah.
Trailer Park was straight up guitar chair. I just learned the music, sat down, played with everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Sweeney was they had rented with the rights. They had acquired Symphonia. Jeff for sure knows what that is.
Oh, yeah.
But
Is Symphonia the one that actually has the keyboard or the small portion of a keyboard?
Symphonia is the name, I believe, if I have this correctly. Each portion of it has a different name. And if I have it correctly, Symphonia is the name of the entire package, which includes a little Mac laptop,
Yes.
a labeled keyboard controller, and an audio interface.
They don't have that package anymore. I checked their site recently, and now everything is you can download the software and hook up your own keyboard to it with your own, so you can have like your own laptop.
Which is much better because
than them sending out a big box.
Well, that setup Symphonia I think was used when I did Annie out at the ranch a couple summers ago, and the component box broke. And which is and it's just like we need one overnighted. We have a show tomorrow.
Well, see, that's what I heard when I helped with that. They had people, whatever. I don't know anybody that worked for Symphonia. They say that they knew of many nightmares associated with using that software live. So what I did is I took that and then would go to a few rehearsals, and once people had tempos down that they knew that they could perform to, and I put in that, and then worked with them and programmed in all the little rubatos that they needed, and then cut that out as CD tracks, and then loaded that into SoundQ system, which some of us are familiar with as well. Yeah, so then had it cut into pieces, and like where there was a musical break, it'd be like, okay, loop this spot, and then whenever they take a breath, hit the space bar, and then move forward. So that was very technical work on something.
And that's something that both you and Jeff have probably had to deal with, with making those edits, being there at a rehearsal. And Jeff, what your setup kind of doesn't get you into the rehearsal process because anyone anywhere can get your services.
The thing that's really cool that I like to do is that I send out a rehearsal package first, which is just very minimal. It's like just the piano and drums, if there are drums applicable, and or percussion. And then sometimes if I'm feeling like, I was like, oh, I got through that quickly, I'll add a bass just to give a nice, like the rhythm section is down pat. They'll take notes throughout their rehearsal and say, oh, we need this vamp longer or shorter. This is in the wrong key. Can you do that? Can you change the key? And I'll say, yeah, of course I can change the key. And then
that'll be $700.
Well,
those two key clicks, changing the key.
No, but yeah, it's I send out the send out the rehearsal package. Musical director or the director will take notes. They'll shoot an email back to me and say, well, can you change this, and this? And I say, of course I can. And then I will I'll send out another. I'll send out the 2 or 3 tracks, or however many. They could ask for changes to the whole show, which does happen. And I give them enough time to, rehearse it with the new one. And then when they say, oh, this is great, we're done, then I send out the rest of it.
And typically, what's the process turnaround? I mean, because a musical production, can be 2 months of rehearsals. How far in advance would somebody need to get a hold of you? Especially if you're busy. Which hopefully you would be.
If they if it's a 2-month rehearsal process, I try to get them. I'll get them a rehearsal package by the 2-week mark in their first, within the first 2 weeks, because I just sit down and go. I just work for like a week straight on this stuff, and Brianna could vouch for me on this. She's seen me do it. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. And then I'll mix it just a little bit, and nothing sounds super good, but it's a good rehearsal process. Then they'll give me their note. They'll rehearse with it for a week or 2. They'll send me the notes. But the quickest I think I've ever really turned anything around was probably 2 weeks. I was able to get somebody some finalized, but that wasn't for a full show. They just said it was a production of Little Women I did. I want to say 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago, and they just said, oh, we only need like 5 songs, and I was like, all right. That's easy. Here you go. Are these good? Yeah, send the final ones. Okay, and then you're done. So and the turnaround really depends on the show.
Yeah, obviously, if you're doing Camelot compared to Sweeney Todd,
or
anything by Sondheim.
Tick Tick Boom
Yeah.
is a 4-instrument hit. I literally can get that entire show done in a week. All 4 instruments, full show in a week. It's nothing. That one flies.
Have you looked at doing anything original?
Oh, that's just for me.
Okay.
I'm not confident enough in my own abilities as far as composing and orchestrating goes.
Well, someone in town is going to write a musical, and they're going to be looking for people. So hopefully they'll be able to look the 3 of you up. We need to take a quick break, and we're going to come back because Arles, I want to talk about the original works that you did for Twelfth Night, another Shakespeare piece. So hang tight, and we'll be back in a few.
And we're cleaner. No.
It looks like you got everything down as far as CD.
Yes.
Okay.
Is the cool vintage equipment
Lord,
necessary
have
to
mercy,
transmit on
Lord.
AM radio?
What are we listening to? What is this?
Says the whorehouse.
Oh, well, it would make sense for Glenn.
Says the whorehouse.
I hit the wrong one.
25 miles until we get to the chicken ranch. I did that show.
I'm still doing it.
Are you?
I'm the understudy for the governor and the sheriff.
Really?
Nice.
She's a good old girl.
This would be the back.
Okay.
We should take a break around the top down. I'll change up. That's why I changed up the CD.
Okay.
So is there nudity in that show? Since it's
There is some burlesque.
Is this still playing at the Plaza?
Plaza, yeah.
Wow.
It's still doing well. That's awesome.
I expect nudity.
Boobs.
Says the Bellator House in Texas.
There you go. I get to show you guys, and then
How was the Book of Mormon?
it's fantastic.
Did you see it?
You went to saw it. You went to LA?
I went to Pantages.
Still running, I
Still going,
think.
yeah.
Cool.
I won the lottery ticket.
Nice.
Taking a video camera by any chance?
Yeah.
I got a bootleg of it if you want it.
I do too.
You do?
From previous.
Yeah, it's probably the same.
Oh, I have, yeah,
like March or May or something.
Yeah, February or yeah.
Early year.
No, it was fantastic. I bought a signed poster.
Signed doorbell.
Yeah, it was, and I have my season tickets for Smith Center, so being able to go see that show is.
Did it pass through the Smith Center too?
No, 2014, I think.
Oh,
14.
Hope it's still equity by then.
Well, they're bringing Rock of Ages and $1 Million Quartet.
Yep. Yep. We know about that.
I want In the Heights to come here.
Yeah.
You're the second person
I
I've heard.
would, but I don't think it would do well in this town. To be honest, I don't think it's the right.
Maybe it's
I
the
don't
center?
think it's the
I
right.
think
audience.
it
Well,
would.
the Smith Center, yes, just to pass through.
Oh, yeah,
But
no,
Rock
not-
of Ages and $1 Million
not a
Quartet are
whole-
like opening in casinos.
Yeah.
Oh, right on.
Yeah,
In the
like
Heights,
if it-
yeah,
I just
passing
want to see
through.
it.
Great.
It's the right age.
Well, somebody can do it now. The rights are out.
Oh, yeah.
Are the rights available for In the Heights?
Super,
Yes.
super theater.
Yeah, if well, they're not listening, but if anyone from Super Summer Theater is watching, your next bids, hey, do In the Heights. It's just like West Side Story.
Wait, really?
Yes, really. With nudity.
Oh, it's a good one, Brian. I like it, Brian.
I'll have to bring you in on that one. All right,
I like that one. He's fun.
about 15 seconds, we'll come back in.
I got that TV.
T-Boy.
My cat's
Do I sound like I'm echoing?
No,
Okay.
There's no like.
You sound like white chocolate.
No, in my own.
That's what you sound like. Try it again
Is that the
now.
music?
Maggie Wheeler, Janice from TV's Friends, and oh my God, you're listening to Curtain Call with Erik Baum.
Awesome.
Almost sounds like the Sandbox music.
How about that? Erik went to a conference in New York a number of months back and got a lot of individuals to do bumpers for us. So,
That's awesome.
yeah, Andrew Keenan, Heidi Billisette, Julie Myrn, Kate Featherhead, Roger Reese, Sarah Salzberg, a whole bunch of others. So that's my favorite one because everyone knows who Maggie Wheeler is. She came and actually worked with him and his students over at Faith Lutheran. Arles, coming back to some original music, and Sandy, please chime in because you'll have input on this as well for Hamlet, because I did the production of 12th Night with you, and you scored the whole show on that, and different working with John Bean than working with Brandon McClanahan. So what kind of direction? Because I'm sure it's like, I like that. Put more stank on it. Would have been would have been the note. That was his directing way.
I heard that from someone else too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In his notes,
That is
stank on
yeah.
it.
That's his Vegas legacy.
I heard that.
I have a button on my mixer for the steak.
When they go to 11.
Yeah, it does actually.
Oh wow.
You gotta leave the room when you turn steak.
Yeah,
to
it's
11.
it's interesting because it's now turned into what's called dubstep, which is great.
That was a really cool show. I like that show. It's the only time I did an Insurgo thing, and it was fun. The process is kind of the same all the time, like Sandy was talking about. You gotta, regardless of what the script is, that's going to be a part of it early on, and then there's going to be the production culture, which is going to be the other part, which is usually predominantly whatever the director's vision is, and then a little bit of vibe just off of the cast, and kind of how are they,
Well, yeah, but it's Shakespeare. I mean, obviously we were doing it at the Erotic Heritage Museum, so yeah. So I mean, there was no.
It was a little bit.
Yeah.
Attractive naked people on that show.
When I came out as Malvolio in my leather or yellow garters, yeah, there was a whole bunch of wow. It's the only porn I will ever do. How did that differ from Neighborhood 3 then? Because obviously, different style of show, and
well,
I mean, obviously every show's different, but
yeah, stylistically, I think is the main thing. I mean, those are obviously
yes.
radically different shows.
That's why I asked. So.
Yeah, exactly. But either way, it's just a matter of there's going to be moments that want music and moments that don't want music, and hopefully early on you can identify those, so you don't spend your time scoring something that's not.
Well, and for me, that's how do you determine that? Being in a show or watching a movie, or where the music is because yeah, of course that's where it's supposed to be. But when you're doing underscoring for a production that is not a musical,
right.
How do you determine?
Well, I think it's very, let's not say it's the same. It's very similar whether it's stage or film. Mm-hmm. But one part of it is going to be, like we said, the director. Very often, an informed director is going to know at least a couple of spots where he's going to be like, he or she, where they are going to know that they need or want music here because they've already decided that they're going to direct their actors a certain way that's going to require or benefit from some backdrop,
okay,
or a little push here and there. And then there's going to be others. Even when directors don't know that, they will most often know where they've already decided that they definitely want silence, and that's obviously huge.
Well, and the similarity breaks with a film because there's a lot of time when there is no dialogue and it's just exposition with the visual, but no characters providing dialogue, and so obviously there's got to be something in there other than the Foley of just whatever is in the picture itself.
Leaves crunching.
Yes.
Well, think about it with film though. You have so much more room to do stuff like that opposed to in a theater piece.
Well,
if you have dead space, people doing nothing, it tends to get the director. That's like going on.
Well, and that could be that can be a pacing issue with theater.
Exactly. So
in film you get to edit things down, and certainly the composers that do the musical scores for film and television, actually get the final product to be able to fit in
Right.
that live theater, is different every night.
It's
You
not
know.
entirely different. You know, there's things you can.
Oh, trust me, I did just 3 performances this weekend, and every single one was different. But our music consisted of some 1940s music and crickets. So, no, all my love out to Trish and Rick Wade for the time they put into Biloxi Blues. 3 fun performances this weekend, and anyone who's listening that came out to see it, no one in this room, obviously. Let's play another track here and see what we got here. And we'll talk about... This is Arles's...
Yeah, this is still first stage. This was a dance commission that I did like 5 years ago. This is one of the movements. They were all short movements, and it was a collaboration between the University of Texas and a...
Hold on, I wrote it down.
Yeah, thank you.
And the Arts Academy of Turku, Finland.
Yeah. And they had their dance students in Turku record a short snippet of anything they did for the first time. The project's called First Time, and they recorded it once in English and once in Finnish. And then...
Please do, yeah.
Yeah. My only task was to use that audio from their little recordings in some way. So this one's about bungee jumping. And I just...
It has a very Peter and the Wolf...
This
It's the clarinets that make the Peter and the Wolf thing. Clarinets, a lot of clarinet.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the clarinet works cool. I like that.
But I just made some music on this movement, and then edited the dialogue kind of articulately.
How did you get that job?
What's that?
How did you get connected with that?
I had already done one commission for one of the head of the dance department at the University of Texas, and that woman had been a long-time collaborator with a gentleman named David Jokin, who was in Finland in Turku, and they were always in communication, and they collaborated fairly often. I am under the impression, and they worked up the project, and then she found the composer. So
Fantastic.
So that piece, was that a piece that you composed with that?
absolutely
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, and it was all synth. Like to date, I've not been able to afford an orchestra.
What-
And I'm not sure it's not a surprise to everybody.
What program did you use for that particular piece?
That one is the.
Now we're going to get into nerd talk.
Yes, here we go.
They don't even make it anymore. Adderall, Roland.
It used to be on Adderall.
Oh, really?
I focus better, which is great.
Yeah,
It's so great.
It's the Adderall orchestral plugin, and it's a very tiny little piece of PC software, and it's the one that I've had forever. And I kind of know what it can do good and what it can't do good. So if it needs like a solo violin, I just don't write it,
Right.
or I go find a violin player. But
What is your weapons of choice? Because I'm familiar with Pro Tools to know what it is, and Finale I actually use every once in a while, but I am poorly inclined when it comes to composing music. I can read it kind of like I can read JavaScript, but it's
GarageBand.
yeah. Well, and
That's a good one.
and you know and for the layman, there's I just need to edit some stuff down. I want to make a ringtone on my phone. Yay, Audacity. And obviously there's a lot of different tools for different purposes. So
Well, Arles probably knows this, and you probably know this too. Different programs have different sounding things. So
Right.
It's like sometimes you feel, for example, like you were saying earlier, you mentioned that if you need any strings, have something to do it because obviously the program the strings were probably crappy on that particular
Solo
program.
strings are
Right. Right. So that's the same thing that I have like
sound
three
like
different type
Deliverance
of
or something?
programs. Yeah. Banjos.
but
But I'll use like three different types of sounds depending on what I'm looking at. I might compose something, then go back and say, I'm going to need some strings here or a better sound.
what do you use for composing? I mean,
Now I'm using Pro Tools 9.
Okay.
Basically, it's just the empowered edition.
And
HD.
someone correct me. Is it Noteworthy or Composer that there's a program where you can actually use your keyboard, and
Notion?
maybe.
I don't know.
But it will create as you, because Finale does it now, where you can actually play and it will
Recognize it right off the...
recognize it
As a
and
MIDI player?
Yeah, well,
Recognize the keyboard note as...
yeah, and so you could compose directly from your computer keyboard, and I had to use that because I did some books on tape a number of years ago, and I had to sing as well.
So if you hit the B, is it a B? Or is it C?
Well, each one
Maybe the
because
sharps and flats.
you would use your mouse to select the
That's awesome.
the note, and then you would use the keyboard to select the beat. So A was a quarter note, S was half note, something like that. But that's how I had to learn the music.
Sibelius? I know Sibelius does that a lot too, and they're Finale's biggest competitor.
Finale's had that since like 2003.
Yeah, they've had that.
This is about back then, but I didn't have access to that expensive. This was some free. It was like demoware for me for a while. So.
What's the most user-friendly program? Say I'm getting ready for an audition, and obviously we don't have our own personal accompanist at home.
You don't?
Not me.
I do. Thanks,
Not
Kelly.
me. And I wanna rehearse my music. What's the best?
Well, you could hire Jeff, and he would create the full score for you. That's
Like, for example, we have the cabaret. And obviously I can't hire an accompanist to rehearse with us the whole week. He can only rehearse with us, one night before the show. So we kind of have to all put our heads together and learn the music together, and I don't know how. And sing along with the CD.
Well, and sometimes just in the basics, because I've had to do that as well. I go to Amazon.com and download the karaoke track, which is something just to work with.
I do that.
And if there is one that has vocals as well, that's $2.
Are you looking to maybe to sing along to see what you sound like during that, or just like to rehearse with it?
To rehearse with,
because that's
like accompaniment.
Yeah, like you were saying,
Like, for
just
example,
get the CDs or something that's already done, and just practice to that.
You know, like
give
for-
any kind of program for that. Really.
Like, for example, three of the songs I bought the rights to, I can't get it on Amazon or iTunes.
Sure.
Like, I bought them from the writer who publishes his own work. His name is Ryan Scott Oliver. Yeah.
Do that again, Jeff. I hate.
Ryan Scott Oliver.
He's awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, we're doing 3 of his songs, and it's just crazy to play. I play a little bit.
Well, I can hunt and peck notes, and I've always wanted to find something where, thanks, I've got the sheet music, great, and I've been able a couple of times to scan it in high quality and clean it up and have a MIDI processor go through it, but that's not.
And what do you use? I have something
Countless
called Smart
hours.
Score.
Countless hours, because for me, a lot of times the sheet music that you'll get looks like there's notes everywhere, especially when you scan it in. And so it's a time, a process to do something like that. And I mean, between the people that it might even be quicker to ask somebody, hey, do you have an hour that you can play this for me?
That's absolutely the best choice if you want to get it done.
Yeah, because
Instead of scanning,
Just
one
have
of
it
them
recorded
was
for you.
literally 23 pages. It's
But
do I
it-
have to scan each of those pages
Well,
and
if it-
turn it into a MIDI?
Well, see, and when I did it for the books on tape, because I had to sing 3 songs for books on tape, the songs were very short. So I was able to scan the sheet music in for one of them, clean up the notes, and have it play so I could hear what the tempo was. And go, oh, okay. Because I'm not as good at reading music as I used to be. But they were, 30-second clips of songs that I had to sing. It wasn't like 23 pages, and that would be a nightmare to have to try and scan something like that in, take the time to clean it up, and then find a program without spending tons of money to actually render it into something usable.
Yeah, and then sometimes they
'Cause-
can't even read them, especially if it's older sheet music.
Right. Well, and a lot of times, the free stuff that you're going to get is going to come out sounding like an 8-bit Nintendo game. It'll be the notes.
MIDI files.
General MIDI reporting meeting.
Yeah.
General MIDI.
If anyone out there has an answer to that question, well, feel free to give us a call.
Phones
because,
are after
I think we've only ever had like 2 callers call in, but 221-7283. Arles, don't call in because it'll be this horrible feedback loop, and it will just be. No, it'll be the apocalypse, and I don't want to deal with that
Way
today.
too early for that.
That's how the apocalypse happens. Okay.
Yes.
I didn't know it was just an endless feedback.
What were we talking about?
I don't know.
talking about-
Sometimes that happens on this
about
show
the
where
program to. Okay.
That's most user friendly.
Let's just say that.
well, there's a good question. Which program is most user friendly? I mean, they all have a steep learning curve as
No,
far.
they don't. No, they
No?
don't.
To
No, they
create
don't.
your own
Some-
rehearsal tracks.
Some processes that you do in software require a steep learning curve.
Mm-hmm.
Not everything requires a steep learning curve. I've never used GarageBand. I think that seems like the most user-friendly thing, but I don't know what you can do with MIDI in that. You just need to get any piece of software, a sequencing software. That means Pro Tools, that means Cubase, that means Sonar, that means Cakewalk, any of those programs, and just get the cheap one. Be like $100.
You can even download a cheap one off the internet, like what do they call it? Audacity or Gold Lab. Was that Gold Wave?
I think that's what it is.
That's easy. Then you got sometimes I'll still even use I can't even remember the name of what it's called. It's off of Mixcraft. It's like a really cheap thing.
I haven't heard of that one.
It's they have actually pretty good sounds on their instruments too.
Yeah, and
But
that's all you need.
Audacity doesn't build tracks. I mean,
No,
it's
it's
a simple editing program.
You can record
not
on it.
record MIDI.
I don't
I don't know.
Does. I think it's
Okay.
strictly audio. I think it's
Okay.
just audio.
Yeah, for like trimming or cleaning up. It's like Adobe Audition or Sound Booth.
Okay. Well, at any rate, you just need any one of the thousands of software that will sequence MIDI, which is so many of them, and they will all come with a VST. And yes, some of them will sound like garbage, but like they will all have a passable piano sound on them for sure.
For rehearsing, yes.
Yeah, exactly. Just for rehearsing, I'm talking. And then the best.
Because if you want professional, you need to go talk to Jeff.
Yeah, and then the best thing that you can do is you can get one of your friends who plays piano. I don't play much piano, but I know people who play piano really well, and either pay them a little bit or beg them or give them a 6-pack and have them sit down and play it on a click so that it stays mostly in tempo, because then you can slow it down and speed it up, whatever you need to do while you're working on it. And if you can't get that, you have to do it by yourself. Remember that you can still do it on the click. You can set it and play it at really, really, really slow and just play it in like that, and then it'll take forever, but it will be done. So there's always a way to get it done. It's not going to cost a lot of money no matter what. You can just get something affordable, and then you can use it for the rest of your life.
Yeah, the issue obviously is the time it would take to get it into the system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I would like to chime in on this one.
Please.
I think I honestly feel that Finale's setup wizard. If you Finale has a free version called Finale Notepad, which I think you can download, and I'm pretty sure that one's free. If you don't have like any key changes, then Finale Notepad is the way to go. But they have other levels of it. But its setup wizard is really awesome for getting stuff going, because you bring it up and you say, well, I need this instrument. Like if you just want a rehearsal, say I want a piano. And their Finale comes with the Garrett Personal Orchestra in their ARIA engine, they call it. And it's actually it's
not bad.
It sounds really good.
Yeah.
It sounds good. It's passive. It's great for rehearsals. And then it'll take you to another page where it says, well, what's your title? That's optional. And then it'll take you to another the last page. It'll ask you. It'll have little boxes for you. And it'll ask like, what's the time signature? And it has like 12/8, 4/4, 3/4, cut time, common time, and you click on that. And then you can choose how many measures you want. Oh, it's a 40 measure. It's a 40 measure thing. Type in 40, and then it'll say what's the tempo. If you know the tempo by offhand, and it gives you. It starts at 120. That's their basic one. But you can type in, oh, this one's 200 beats per minute. You type in 200, and then you can either, if you want, if you have a keyboard, you can choose the notes to play. But my process is I drag and drop, and that it just takes time. But their setup wizard is a great foundation to get it started.
Finale Notebook.
Yeah.
The Notepad.
Notepad.
Yeah.
Finale Notepad.
And that's some of the stuff that we use Finale for, and it's also good for my girlfriend Kelly uses it because she's a music educator. So it's great for building the sight reading. Templates for her students. We need to take another little break because we need to swap out our archive disc in the back. So if our sound engineer producer Chris is back there listening, we need to swap that out. You're listening to Curtain Call with Erik Ball, though he's not here. Darn him.
Darn him to heck.
Darn him to heck.
Roger Rees, your speeder of the Starcatcher, sending you back to Erik Ball here in Las Vegas.
On my computer.
No, I loaded full-blown finale on yours.
So I tried to do one of those for a 16-bar cut. It took me 2 hours.
Yeah, you know nothing about
I
it?
know nothing about the program, but seeing it done. It took 2 hours to get a 16-bar cut in, and then I showed it to Jeff, and he said, "This is all wrong." Oh, this sucks.
Yeah. You'd be better calling Jonathan and saying, Jonathan.
Or do you know Chris Lash? Call Chris Lash and say, Chris Lash.
He's probably sight reading.
He's like one of my friends on Facebook that I've never met.
You have friends who play piano pretty good, right?
And it's gotta be good, because I've had pianos for
Check out
Brian
Town
Scott all
Square's
over.
new
Kelly-
hotspot.
And they've come
Great
back and said,
housekeeping.
"This is ridiculously
Yeah,
hard.
it's
I'm
tough
gonna have to
to
take this away and come back." And I'm like, "Oh shoot!"
Right.
Jen, Kelly can do that kind of stuff too.
If it's in MIDI, you can always like they can bang through it and go like, oh, I goofed that part up. It's like it's cool. Then you just go back and select that note and erase it.
Drag it. It's like, oh, that was supposed to be an
Well,
F sharp.
and that's something I haven't played with because I have the MIDI connections for my computer to the keyboard so that you can play and have Finale compose it out for you as you go.
Everybody's invited to ride the mechanical fantastic food, drinks, and a great
It doesn't take. I mean, it depends on the
You
region.
don't work for free though.
65, 90
Yeah,
She's
I'm
getting-
gonna work
she
for a
basically
smile
does
and a
MIDI
six
files.
pack.
in Town Square.
Are you getting the MIDI
Reservations
files or are you getting the sheet
702
music?
749
MIDI files. I have the sheet music
See, are
already.
they on a like on a computer?
Are you sick and tired of your garage door going up but never coming down, or going
No,
down
I
and
just
coming
have a
back up
PDF
on
on
its
my
own?
computer.
Kids knocking the monkey
You
cases
can
around.
most a lot of programs they can like you were talking with Cakewalk, you can
They are
dump
your
that in,
one-stop shop
select
for
it,
garage
it'll,
doors, garage door openers,
say,
and
like,
repairs.
it'll say
Great
import
service
audio,
dealing all the
import
time.
MIDI, just
Also,
take
you
that,
can't
import it right
be
into the
custom
track,
hearth and
and
doors
just select your
and not
instrument.
do fireplaces.
Yeah.
They provide
Is that called
MIDI files, not sheet music?
wood-burning and
Cakewalk,
gas-fired
the cheapest one is
fireplaces.
called Music
You
Creator.
just put it just
Cakewalk
all in
Music
into your,
Creator.
into your software, it'll be Cakewalk or whatever.
Custom Hearth features the
And
best
it'll
brand
basically
names in the
just
business,
identify the MIDI
including
file.
LiftMaster garage
And
door
all you do is
openers
basically
with
select
their
the instrument
new
that you want.
keyless entry with fingerprint verification.
Yeah,
They
solo
should just
violin
teach
music is
musical theater
terrible.
actors to use these
Yeah,
programs.
that's all you gotta do.
That was
So
great.
That should be a
We're
class.
lazy.
it should be a huge class. I
It should be a semester-long
if I
class.
didn't
How to
have
use
him,
Finale
I
for your
would
audition.
figure out how to do it.
Great.
I would invest money.
I would rather how to find the best 16 bars.
Yes, but if
Yeah.
4 or 5 years ago,
Well,
if I
it
didn't
doesn't
know,
matter. We all
I
use the
didn't know
same
how
16
to do
bars.
it.
No, it's
It's like the same song.
We're using Finale way too long for me to not.
Thanks.
Not know how to do
It's
it.
the neighborhood brew pub and casino, famous for their baby
I
back
am
ribs
now.
and
I
spicy
spent
big
my
dogs.
summer in Alaska. I spent my summer in Alaska.
They used to call him a dick. Now he's just.
No, I'm just kidding. No, I spent the summer in
See, we
Alaska.
can do that because we're not on the air. Fucking fuck. How about that?
No, I played ragtime music in Alaska for the summer, and that forced
So
me.
after 6 months,
It forced me how to play the piano. It forced me to learn piano. But I mean, now I can. Like I could dabble and play a couple songs on the piano, but now
Do you sing anything as Stewie?
I can do Brian Adams. I mean, anything I do for you.
Okay.
Some of it.
You should ask him to
I'm
be
gonna-
on air.
I'm going to.
I was like, how long are we allowed to do that
Special
legally without getting in
skills.
trouble?
It's
16
live.
bars.
It's a live recording,
Oh,
so and no one's going.
Look into your heart.
All right.
I don't even know the lyrics. Oh,
Nope.
I was like, I don't know all the lyrics.
Oops.
You gotta smoke a couple cigarettes first. Look into my
The Canadian government has apologized for Brian Adams.
I was like, I can talk regular like Stewie, but that's about it.
And we are back. This is Glenn Heath at the helm today. Apparently, still doing my method for being drunk from my show last night. I'm here in the studio with some of Vegas's theatrical magical musicians, Arles, Estes, Jeff Strong, and Sandy Stein, and Jenn De La Torre here guest hosting. Hello. We're having to rotate the ladies these days for guest hosting So between you and Liz and Jamie and Carrie Ann, we'll get you guys in here all the time. And Brianna, so good to see you. What you guys were like in not Africa, Alaska.
Yes, Africa. We went to Africa.
Yeah, we did a 6-month contract in Alaska.
Alaska.
It was great. It was
where
really fun.
in Africa is that?
It's in the northern.
Very north. Near Uganda.
We were in a little town called Skagway, which is not a venereal disease.
Although it's an awesome name for one.
I went to Ketchikan and I caught Skagway.
Ketchikan.
That's another town.
We saw bears. Did
We did
3 to
see-
4 shows a day of ragtime music and can dancing.
Mm-hmm. That's where you broke your wrist.
I did
Wow.
break my
Doing the
wrist.
can.
Kick too high.
Kick too high, your other foot
And you
swept out.
Oh wow, okay. That's
Yeah.
nice. You kicked your wrist and broke it. How about that? So and you guys have been back a couple months now.
Been back since
about
the
just
beginning.
1 month.
1
about.
month.
One
It's
month,
only been a
okay.
month now, yeah.
So just visiting. Haha.
You heading back out?
To San Diego she is, yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, because you're. I mean, no.
He wants to talk to you.
Well, I haven't talked to you in a while, Brianna, and
No,
you know,
it's fun.
you were dragged here, so
no,
I might as
Million
well at
Dollar
least.
Quartet called me in, and so I went, oh, sweet. It's now a tax write-off. Ha 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 ha.
for the touring show that's now.
I don't know.
For the casino one that they want to implement.
Oh, I
I think there's somebody wants to open $1 Million Quartet at a casino here.
Oh, it is.
Oh, it's already here?
No,
It's going
but
to be
it's going to be.
but they posted information to submit yourself for auditions, and then they picked and choose people.
Well, the
so.
directors were fabulous, and they were gay, and I loved them. It was just like a row of gay men, and you're like, oh, thank you. Oh, I love you guys.
I've got no comment other than to turn the camera.
Thanks, Brianna.
Jeff, I'm gonna put you on the spot because I know you love to do Stewie Griffin.
Oh boy. Oh, okay.
And so this is what I had to put up with for 3 months of Avenue Q.
2 or 3 months. Yeah, it was probably 2 or 3 months. Yeah. Put up with. You make it sound like it's a bad thing now.
Well, we'll let our audience decide.
Okay. Well, every once in a while, we'll be doing the show, doing rehearsals, and Stewie Griffin would show up to play Princeton, and he was funny because he sang songs about doing copulation with his teacher's assistant and other things involving. There's monsters. Ooh, Brian, there's monsters. something with going to college and having a BA in English, which is useless apparently. I don't know. You could be a teacher. Teachers are nice. I like my teachers. And good things happened and Avenue Q. It's about life, and it was brilliant and good show. And then there's Glenn with Nikki playing Nikki. And it was funny because he had a song to sing about Rod, about being a homosexual. Maybe we weren't sure until the end of the show when it was confirmed or denied. If you haven't seen the show, I don't want to spoil it for you.
But Ron does go to Ketchikan.
And he catches Skagway.
Thank you.
Bye, Brian.
Say goodnight, Gracie. I'm usually pretty good with the segues, and I don't have one. I'm gonna play another.
What about Skagways?
Skagways.
We'll talk about that off air.
Let's just do some impressions the rest of the show.
Sure. How about that?
I do a good Marcel.
I can do a little Christopher Walken. It seems you're having some trouble here.
Oh, this is mine. This is mine. This is from a show called Next to Normal. Main reason I like this one a lot is because it's a small rock combo. It's a 6-instrument pit, and the reason it's part of the demo is because it shows a little bit of a different side to what the tracks can sound like. Of course, you can have the very orchestral. I think I brought one from Little Women, I think, and that's a very orchestral sound. But then there's Next to Normal, which is a rock combo, and it's they're different. They sound really different, but this is here to show that even with 6 instruments, you can make it sound really, really full. And
Absolutely.
it's a complete ensemble with it.
And you have some of these pieces on your website, jeffstrongmusic.com.
I do.
And so if you're listening, we'll certainly put a link up from our webpage that everyone visits all the time. It's funny, because having just done Biloxi Blues, I had a really hard time not doing...
Christopher Walken.
It was hard. Be smart, man, to move when I yell attention. But I ended up. It was somewhere in between the gunnery sergeant from Full Metal Jacket and Gomer Pyle.
Gomer Pyle.
Golly! Yeah, I did not want to do Christopher Walken for that show. Despite the fact of...
Have you heard Christopher Walken
Would have been
sing?
fun.
Have you heard him read Lady Gaga's Poker Face? If you haven't, check that one out.
That
Poker
sounds
Face.
Awesome.
He reads
Poker
like
Face.
He has the lyrics just printed in front of him, and just reading it in front of an audience. And like when he gets to the O part, he just goes, "Oh, oh,
Oh! Oh!
Poker Face."
You know what? I may
I have to look that up.
I may steal from our friend Kyle Van Son, who does a Bill Cosby impersonation, and he actually has a website where I'll do anything. And a good friend of ours, Terrence Williams, hired him through like Fiverr.com and had him read the lyrics to various songs, and ended up putting tracks behind it
As Bill Cosby?
Yeah.
as White Bill Cosby. White Cosby.
That's White Cosby.
And he actually put an album together and put it up on iTunes and Amazon. It's hysterical. Kyle had no idea that over a span of like 8-9 months that Terrence every few weeks would hire him to do this stuff. So maybe I'll start doing that as Christopher Walken to supplement my income, as it were.
That is a great Cosby. I love your Cosby. Is it
Thanks.
not as good as Kyle's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're here at the curtain call. Eric Ball. Wah.
Sound effects.
Yeah. That's a decent segue. Do you guys do any, other do Foley effects or sound effects for shows as well?
Oh, yeah.
Well, that was a great question.
I have.
Let's see, Glenn, you're hosting. Perhaps you should ask a leading question that perhaps elicits something more than a yes-no response. Make mental note.
Maybe? Have you done effects before? Maybe.
On purpose?
Fantastic. Arles, what do you have coming up?
I have one more thing for the rest of the year, and that's Love Song at Cockroach.
How about that?
It's a really cool. I've heard a reading and I've read the script once. I haven't got into it.
Who's in that? Do you know?
I can't name them all off right now, so I don't want to start because I'll forget. I know Brandon's in it, and I have a very bad memory. And
Glenn's in it.
I sit right next to you during the read. Isn't that special? Yeah,
Nice.
good for me.
Yeah.
At least I know I have.
I apparently didn't impress you during Cannibal and didn't impress upon you at all during the read-through.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh,
All right,
something else, an
and
assassin,
where
that's
is
for sure.
where is your mic?
It says HP3 over here.
Oh, okay. Well, there I can. Yeah, Assassin's another different aspect. You were actually playing the music in that show, and fantastic. Just very versatile. And again, the article that you had just a couple of months ago in Seven magazine highlights a lot of that. Desert Companion. Was it Desert Companion for you too?
Mine was Desert Companion.
Okay. Well, that was a free plug for Seven magazine. Anyway, so Sandy, where are you these days? Because I know that you were doing shows at the Plaza, and that's now
As
kind
far
of
as acting or music?
well, yeah. I mean, you're all over the place as well. Arles, will do the music production and performing, and various aspects in that.
Soundy things.
But you do not go on stage.
Soundy. Very, very, very rarely.
Yeah.
I was in Dog Sees God, and that was fun. But my calling is not as an actor.
Schroeder?
Van.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, me and Sam Craner have had many Van to
Sam Craner?
Okay.
Love Sam Craner. Me, I'm doing a lot of stuff with my horses, actually. Just
They play music. Oh,
Guess what I'm doing? I'm actually putting together a demo for some independent film companies right now, and a couple places in LA. I'm not going to jinx myself and say who they are, but just trying to get some stuff and hopefully doing some film stuff and some short film stuff, video game kind of stuff, things like that. Scoring for that. So that's what my next vision is.
very cool.
Outside the community theater.
And you can actually use some old Apple IIe software then if you're going to do a video game.
Yeah. Well, not necessarily.
Resist.
Yes, I will not.
All your base are belong to us.
I'm not much of a Mac guy, to be honest, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Music, you know.
I think I've got another track from your show, Sandy, and hopefully... no.
No, that's mine. Still. Thank you. No.
Yeah, this is Hamlet.
Yeah. It's from Hamlet, the video game.
Hamlet, the video game. Coming to...
Everyone's dead. You win!
Come back to the beginning.
This was the introduction during the beginning monologue. It was the main title for the show. What I'll do sometimes, I'll get inspiration for the whole show and just write like a movie, like a main title theme for it, and just kind of get the feel for that vibe of that particular piece.
Did you incorporate this theme then into the other pieces?
Some of the stuff, as far as the vibe, the
Yeah.
key and melody, maybe not, but so much maybe the vibe and the strings and the feel of the suspense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because there are distinct films that, Jurassic Park is one that you always hear that thread through all the music, and John Williams will do that for a lot of productions. I'm just going to sit back and listen to this one for a moment. Turn out the lights.
This is a pretty intense one, but
I'm digging the synth on top of the orchestral sound instruments.
it's a little bit of spacey meets, I don't know, John Williams, I guess.
There's a low rumble.
It's a little the kettle drums and shit. Yeah.
It pleases me the way the Blade Runner soundtrack pleases me, which is significant.
Cool.
I'm taking the camera off of Arles so that we don't see the pleasing.
You still know it's there.
The show is, you can't unhear it.
Gotta love the French horns, though, right?
Yeah.
One of my favorite instruments. So yeah, this
And
is my cold day
sound-
as a homeless man theme. I guess
Those artifacts in the
That's
music.
what it was like. I was picturing. Well, this whole thing actually, when I was inspired by this, I was actually the first day. Troy actually said, "I want you to picture yourself doing this. This is the kind of feel that I want for this piece, for the music, for the show." And I just pretty much just, got into the mode, lit the candles, got the piano, and just started playing the piano, and that's the way it felt. And just add the strings and just layered it. Just put stuff on as you feel it sounds good at the time. And
It definitely sounds cold.
Yeah.
yeah, that's what it's supposed to be. So that's what I was trying to do.
The nice thing, a painter, can always put one too many brush strokes in, and with computer technology, you are able to layer, and go no too much, and be able to still take it back. When do you know when to start or stop? I mean,
That's a great question, Glenn.
and it's
Because
it's a leading question. Yes.
I'll tell you want to take this?
How do you know when? How do you know when to stop?
All right,
Yes.
Here's the thing I've always believed, and anything I've ever written in my life is less is more. Because if you jumble something up too much, you lose a lot of the continuity of the emotion. So what I try to do is I'll try to make that instrument speak as much as it possibly can in that particular phrase. So if there's too much of something else, it'll get jumbled up within that phrase. So what I like to do is to start real basic, like the piano. Just how does that feel? How does that sound? What's the vibe I'm getting from there? Is there some swelling that might need there from strings? Some horns that can build that up a little bit more into that particular moment. So the more you layer on top, the more cluttered it becomes. So I like to believe that the less instruments that you use, the more feeling you put to the instruments that you are using, that's going to be more of a significant piece.
Do you look at it as your music being a character?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Every instrument's a character. Everything's a voice.
Well, that even goes deeper into it, where you have your own your own show within a show.
In a symphony, every instrument has its own particular emotion. Its voice. It's the timbre of that particular instrument. A flute sometimes can be very high.
The clarinet is the duck. Yes.
Right. Exactly. Or the strings, or that's the catalyst. He's the one that moves everything forward, or whatever particular emotion you're going for.
And I'm guessing you will concur to some of that, Arles. But the two of you, have you guys worked together?
No.
None of you have.
Conversation 2 weeks ago. That was pretty significant.
I have worked with all three of you. I am the Kevin Bacon in the room. So.
I have too.
Have you?
Well,
You've worked with Jeff?
We took a directing class together.
That doesn't count.
Yeah, it does. I directed it.
Yeah, she did.
She
did direct
It was
me.
in one of my scenes.
See?
Huh?
I don't even have I didn't even have the camera on you,
Yeah,
Jen.
turn the camera in over here.
But putting the last note on what we were talking about, just to put a little thing on the cake, icing on the cake on that.
Thing on the cake.
Is
That's
improv.
why you don't write dialogue.
It's improv. Glenn, you can appreciate this since you're an improv guy. Is that a lot of the stuff that you do when you're creating, you're just pretty much improvising is what you're doing, and then whatever happens to be good at the time you're thinking of it, you keep. That's pretty much what you do.
Yeah.
It just comes up. It comes up. Oh, that was good. It sucked. Edit. Try it again. Until it's what you want. Unfortunately, improv though, it's a live improv anyway. Sure. You get what you get. That's it.
Yeah.
Unless you videotape and then script out the.
Some of my best stuff has been by accident. It's like, holy, I didn't mean to do that, but that sounds awesome. It's like right.
We were talking about software earlier. If you're in software and you accidentally grab up the wrong section and your hand slips and you cut and paste it into a horribly wrong spot, listen to it once before you're
exactly.
Once. Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've actually done that and been like, oh damn it, I lost that track. I mean, because I know it was like, how did I do that? And you're like, I'm trying to do it, you still can't recreate it.
Yeah.
It's like, but you always try to always be recording when you're composing, because you never know what you're going to come up with.
And has that happened recently for any of you? For shows that you've done, Neighborhood 3, any happy accidents? Did you create silly putty or slinkies, or
I find that happy accidents are a constant.
Yeah, they always happen.
Yeah, there's always stuff. You always have a roadmap.
Mm-hmm. So you guys just throw stuff up on the wall and whatever sticks, that's what you go with.
Well, let's face it, that's the only way creation happens.
That's true. It's like when you're painting a picture, like you mentioned earlier. A color is a color, but once you mix it, it becomes another color, but it was still that same color in the beginning, you know what I mean? Because there was the general idea of that color, but maybe somehow in your palette, you mixed a little bit of red in there on accident and go, well, that's a little different shade of red than I expected, but I'm going to keep it. He's like, whatever. I don't know what I was thinking.
No, I know.
And everything that we ever created, no matter how complex or how involved or how sacred it is because it's somebody that was 400 years ago, they made that up by improvising at some point. Whether they improvised it in their head or whether they improvised it on an instrument, that's the only way that anything comes into being, is somebody makes it up on the spot and either makes a decision to keep it or throw it away.
It comes down to the end of the project is the arrangement, obviously. If you have sections that might start out in a certain way, and then, that's actually a better intro than it was during the part. You might want to reverse it or change it around depending on what the song calls for. The arrangement is a lot with everything, but when it comes to like the intricate pieces, like phrasing like I was doing in that one song, is what where to put this here, where is it too much this here, not enough here. So that's all in the arrangement process. But the creative beginning process is completely different. Than the
and it's unique for you guys doing this is that you are only working with the director, and in this town, I'm sure you're given a lot of free reign to create, as opposed to the constant now change this that micromanagement. And so I'm wondering, do you guys have any aspirations of doing more of the mainstream type productions? Obviously, if someone were to come to you and say, "Hey, I need you to score Spider-Man 4," No, I mean,
I got some. I'm doing community theater with cockroaches there. I don't have time.
no.
I have room in my closet for that giant sack of money you're offering.
But no, but I mean, do you have aspirations of doing that? You know, or creating your own musical, for instance. And I don't know, you know, Arles, you and I have not talked a whole lot, you know. So as far as whether or not you're a musical theater junkie or you just love creating and playing.
I'm a music junkie.
Yeah.
And I'm a collaboration junkie. So musical theater is a natural fascination for me, but I've never been the one who can sit there and list off every piece written by certain composers. And I don't. Earlier, you were mentioning those bumpers, and you said, we all know who those are.
No.
Those people are. I didn't know who any of them were.
Yeah. Well, as far as what your current station at Cockroach Theater, how did that come about?
Eric asked if I would be willing, and it sounded like fun. They've got a cool space. You're referring to the fact that as of about now, I will be the composer and sound designer in residence at Cockroach Theater.
Yes.
So hopefully, that's going to be a good time. It's going to be a good time. Hopefully, I can start over the next couple of years. I want to be able to provide an environment for composers and sound designers working on plays there that's somewhat unheard of. I'd like to get some multi-channel possibilities, as opposed to, gosh, gee, wouldn't it be neat if we could have a couple of like lighting designers? You can set general looks, and you also get specials. That's not necessary in every play for sound, but sometimes it would be the coolest thing ever, or even just the very very cliche. It is cliche in surround sound, but like just being able to make a sound go all the way around your head, that feels really neat, and you certainly don't feel that in...
I just felt it right now.
I know, right?
I heard it, felt it, saw it, taped it.
I'm glad we could share that.
Yes.
I have to say, I have to comment on that. One particular moment where I really was like, that's the coolest thing ever. I was seeing Monsters, Inc. when it was in theaters. I know, this is going to sound so weird, but...
Awesome.
Say it to Stewie, it'll sound awesome.
Oh, well, I was with Brian, and we were watching Monsters, Inc., and it was a good movie. I liked Boo, because she was cute. There was the moment towards the end of the film where there's the purple slinky guy, he's the chameleon, I can't remember his name, but there was this moment...
Stanley?
Was it Stanley? I don't know.
I don't remember.
Stanley! Oh! But there was this moment, I'll never forget this because it was one of those moments where I was like, that has got to be one of the coolest sound design tricks I've ever heard. Where he disappeared from the camera, like he went off screen, he went off to the right, and then he came back around through the left, but the sound in the theater tracked around in a circle, and so I just remember going, that was awesome. Why do we not implement this more into films? That it gives this really awesome... It was a really great surround sound trick that I had never heard before in a film, or if I did, I was just too young to even realize what it was. But that would be awesome in a live theater. I would love...
Well, and I'm wondering, as far as, director... And I wish Erik were here, because he could certainly chime in with the production of Peter Pan he just finished today at Faith Lutheran, because sound was incredibly important for the show. He did a reworking of the classic Jamboree story in steampunk.
Wow.
And so the music that was involved with it, and Jen, you were able to see it as well. You and I were there the same night. What was your interpretation of that? Because, as far as the music, hearing it, and hearing it within the scope of the show, a lot of directors in town don't necessarily consider that, having sound as a component of a show. You're looking at me like you have no clue what I just asked. What was your impression of the music in the show?
I mean, I was very impressed. I mean, the opening music, I could hear the cranking of the metal, and I was like, I get it, steampunk. Just overall very impressive. I was going to say visually stunning, but that has nothing to do with sound.
The music was visually stunning.
Awesome.
But no, and Erik is one of those directors in town, and he's not here to whatever comment. Yeah, but he does value that overarching production value. It's not just about the actors on stage. It's not just about creating the visual with the lights and the scenery and the props and everything else, but incorporating sound as well in the non-musical productions that he does.
Who was responsible for the music and sound of the show? The creator of it?
I say Eric did it all.
Eric did a lot of it. I can look it up here, but then I can't ask questions and do the camera, and there's just so many things I can't do all at the same time.
Like you get your little Lazy Susan thing. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It'd be cool if we could say whoever it is his name, since we're talking about how good it was.
Internet connection cannot display the web page. Diagnose connection problems.
Oh.
That was his name? That's a good name. I like it.
Interesting.
We're just going to say it was Eric.
Yeah.
Good job, Eric.
Yeah, good job, Eric. I don't have a program with me, and there's no
Good job, whoever.
posters. But yeah, it was very good. And again, for me, at least with that production, there was the music that was provided during the interludes, during the set changes, which that for me is like, yes, duh, that's when you would have something like that. But it also underlined in some of the scenes as well, the crocodile, the clocodile. Steampunk. It was a clocodile.
Get it.
Tinkerbell.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tinkerbell was a green laser pointer, and then the actress was on larger set pieces in the corner of the stage,
nice.
and she didn't speak. She never spoke, but she had to emote everything.
Sound.
She had her own sound, so there was a whole huge, kind of like Beaker, and so it was a very interesting production and very successful for him this year. I'm sure he's sad that it's over and happy that it's over all at the same time, because that tends to be that way. Jeff, I think we got a couple more tracks of yours, because I've played everything that Sandy gave me. It's like all two of them. Same with Arles, and you guys have tons. Is any of your music available outside of?
So I've got some stuff on SoundCloud, and I have a website that's so old at this point that I hardly tell people where it is because it's embarrassing to look at.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, give it to me. I'll go look at it.
It's my name. It's arlesestes.com, and I hope to update it in the next couple of months. But I haven't updated it in 4 years. It's awful. But there is some music on it. But I need to get in gear and up to date in 2012 to plan online.
Actually, listen.
Materials.
I checked that out like 2 or 3 days ago. I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to be on the show with Arles. Oh yeah, okay, cool.
There's a note about something in 2004 on the front page.
Yeah, that's right.
April 6th, 2009. This weekend, Arles will be over at the Las Vegas International Film Festival.
Yeah.
How'd that go?
It was fun. We got free passes.
I'm in the same boat. I had a website that I lost a number of years ago because the server it was hosted on, they changed the domain name, and so everything got wiped out. And I never rebuilt it because back then it was HTML, and then I incorporated Dreamweaver and building into it, and I just gave up. And so I finally redid it a month or so ago, and used Wix because it was just a quick little HTML5, and I could just throw stuff, link everything else into it. I'm doing the
HTML push right now. I've learned it before, but not really awesome. So I'm trying to get just good enough to where I can embed a few things.
Yeah.
Steal off other websites.
Absolutely.
Source.
That's how I have my demos page. It's just the SoundCloud widget.
Yeah.
And it works. It works great.
All my video stuff is YouTube clips, and the links are on my page, and I have a couple of SoundCloud links. I can't find a good photo one. I tried using Flick.
Like a gallery?
Yeah. And
just look on the internet, you'll be able to steal one.
Well, but Wix only has certain plugins that'll work. So they have like an Instagram plugin, so you can boom send it to Instagram, and boom, it's on your webpage, which is great.
Network Solutions is my host domain. They host the website, and I've found that theirs is they have great pre-built, I guess you could say,
templates.
Templates. Thank you. I was like, but they're good. Like, and if you know HTML stuff, you can definitely embed it and all that, and it works great. And I think their photo one is, pretty good too. Like, you can upload a photo and it looks.
And Wix you can upload photos and use their gallery slideshows. But I have thousands and thousands of photos, that not that I want to use for like demo purposes, but just to be able to maybe have just rotating pictures go through
Facebook,
and it's at that point where it's like, well, either I create a completely open and public page, or I have to open up my personal page, which I'm not really inclined to.
That's the issue with me is a lot of my music, of course, a lot of it isn't copyrighted, so I hate to just put my stuff out
well,
on the
and
website to where
it is.
Is it?
You made
the
it.
laws.
You made it.
As far as some of the,
especially if you have project files on your computer, you can't be in court with
The
that.
the only issue is protecting them and being able to find anyone that.
Well, like I
because
said,
I
stole
stole
stop
his
somebody from getting a piece of my stuff and be like, oh, I'll just change one note and something like it's his piece.
Yeah, that's what I've done.
Yeah, that's why. I guess I'm just saying I'm just very meticulous about putting my stuff out there just yet because
that's smart,
until I. Like I said, I'm trying to do some stuff with some different production companies, and as soon as I get established, maybe in a bigger way, maybe because right now I feel I'm just kind of small time. Why do I even have a website? You know what I mean? It's like why do that? So.
When I contact people, I mostly just send them like a custom.
That's what I normally do. That's what exactly.
Well, and Jeff, that's what yours is. I mean,
because I don't want to have like a whole website
to
where it's like, oh, here's all this stuff, and that's pretty good. And this, we don't need him. Let's just,
Is it a process to protect all of your
well,
stuff
there is.
before
There's like
you put it up
copyright
on your
laws and
website?
stuff. I mean, things might be different now from back when I was writing back in the '80s and trying to be a rock star. I mean, I haven't really looked into that kind of stuff anymore as much as I used to. But I'm sure there's like different things you have to get, like different mechanical rights and stuff that you have to be able to own, particularly.
Well, and not that any of you would have illegally pirated software, but I mean that can always be an issue as well. It's if you've created something from something that wasn't yours to use.
Yeah, for
good luck ever proving that that's the case.
So for like my singing demo, I was like, I'll just get my karaoke track or whatever on on iTunes, put that in my garage band, and then sing over it.
You paid for it.
Exactly, you paid for it.
So okay.
And you got like the liquid.
The thing is,
watermark. This is 445.
and that's sometimes especially with what you're doing, Jeff. Obviously, it is not against the rights of MTI to hire an orchestra and play their music.
Right, and I make that very clear.
How is it that what you're doing, because they are buying a service from you, and you are essentially
service. It's not that they're.
But I read through your site. Once the run is over, they do not have the rights any longer to use
the tracks.
Exactly,
and that's well established with the people that I've used with.
Now, and now is that because of the rights that the
it's to
MTI and dramatists and all them?
Yes, it's to protect me too, so that somebody can't come in and say, "Oh, well, he sold us these tracks." It's no.
Exactly. Don't you have like a contract in the beginning and the writer when you actually buy the rights for the show in the first place? There's a certain time you could use them.
Yes.
So that's why once that's over, you can't.
And I also make it clear too that say like, well, if you extend the run of the show, just let me know and we'll I'll make an addendum. Relicense it exactly. And that's it's
that's how you're using it. Conceivably, you would be able to resell the same package.
Yeah, and that's something that is really nice too. Is that I have rehearsal tracks and I have like bottom line rehearsal tracks and say here you go. And then the rehearsal tracks are really they're easy to manipulate as far as vamps and keys go.
Do you actually have Pam saying rehearsal tracks?
No, I don't actually. I just I don't.
This is rehearsal tracks.
I don't.
You should create your own Pam.
I don't do the voice of Stewie. Oh,
this is property.
Don't sell these, Brad. No, but I don't per se have I don't have like a watermark on the tracks or anything. I just know what it sounds like because I'm able to identify.
Do you put backmasking in there?
I don't put any backmasking, but I am able to identify the sounds and the sample libraries. I'm able to identify like it's gotten to the point where there's drums, I'm able to identify the snare drum that's used because I know exactly where I got it from and what it sounds like, and I know what EQ settings, and I know I just know what they sound like.
Are you able to embed meta information into your tracks then, or?
Yes, I am actually. I use to create some of the discs. I use CD Architect, and they're able to. I can actually put in like copyright information in the comments,
Right.
so that like if they were to like go in and read it, they would find this like a text file essentially to say, oh, this was created by Gesture on Music. Okay, I know exactly where this came from, and it's and I do actually know how to copy protect CDs, which is possible. Copy protecting CDs
using DRM.
It's DRM. You're able to read them in a regular CD player, but if you put it into a computer can't read it. So you're not even able to rip the tracks.
Okay, so that like the file allocation table.
The file allocation doesn't even it's non-existent.
Cool.
Like you put it in the computer's like, I can't read this, can't play it. So if you have like a regular, I'm able to do that. I don't do that.
So they'd have to play it out of their CD player and then.
They'd have to, yeah. They would. It would be a very
direct out, line out into.
Don't tell them how to.
Don't tell them how to do it. But yes, it would be a very. You'd have to get somebody who knows how to do that in order to like rip it.
I have to use that 20th century technology.
Right, so long ago.
The bottom line with stuff like this is it's not really going to hurt us unless somebody makes a pile of money off of it.
Well, and I would think if somebody pirated your music, you'd be like, cool, somebody's pirating my music.
Unless they made a pile of money off of it.
Of course.
Yeah, then that's a problem.
Yeah, but
that's a problem.
If that's the case, we all made what we made, and if it comes to that, then it comes to the point of getting a lawyer, and it comes to the point of doing all kinds of official things, and then you get into the situation, and they're like, no, I made this, and it's like, okay, here's the project file of my computer.
Yep.
Here it is. Here's the first draft. Here's the second draft. Here's the fourth draft. Here's the finished draft, and here I'm just going to turn on and off instruments so you can tell this is exactly the same thing. I mean, it'd be easy to prove.
Very easy.
While we're sitting here talking this, do you ever wish for that problem to have?
No, I never do. I don't simply because I just spend because I'm not doing anything original per se. I'm really not. I'm taking the script and I'm taking the script, the music score,
Yes.
and just rehashing it to make it a track. But for Arles and Sandy, you guys are making original things. So
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a fine line there because I mean, you take pride in your work no matter what. Especially if you take, I'm sure there's hours that you spend going, God. You know, I'm sure there's something in the back of your mind. Man, I'd be so pissed if somebody just took this without asking me. You'd be pissed. So I'm sure there's going to be.
Or ran a show for 15 years and paid him once.
Yeah, I mean, but I mean, yeah, there's a lot of pride in your work when it comes to no matter what you're creating. Just like a piece of an art that you're creating yourself from something you wrote, or something that you're just recreating because you're putting time, money, and love into something that if you're not getting the correct credibility for it or the correct recognition for it, yeah, you're going to be upset if somebody steals it from you. So, just the way it is.
I will take down all the music I pirated from you.
Thanks, Glenn.
No, I would even be upset if I walked in to see a play and during.
Well, neighbor
Sure, I wouldn't care. So I thought about this a lot. It's never happened.
But Neighborhood 3 could very well be one because wasn't the writer? Didn't she come to one of the shows?
Yeah, Jennifer Early.
Yeah,
she came to one of the shows in Ohio for a weekend.
And whether or not she got a copy of the music, and I doubt she would do something like that. But I mean, that's a possibility where, hey, you know, this music was used for the show before. Why don't you listen to it? And it propagating that way completely unintentional to hurt you.
If it was listen to it and do something like that, then that's awesome. If it was listen to it and then use this in your show, I would get furious. Especially if they didn't tell. I'm talking about
absolutely.
It's not even about if it's another community theater and they used the entire sound package and asked and still didn't have any money, and it was just like, well, yeah, of course you can use it. You get it use it. You're gonna play for 4 weekends. It's great, you know. But if you went into a show, if I went into a show and heard something that I had done, even for the same company, being used in a significant, let's just say, keep it vague, in a significant manner during the actual course of the action of the play, and no one had ever even asked if they could do that, I would flip out. I would really, really get mad. That's incredibly disrespectful. That's incredibly disrespectful. Now, I'm getting all fired up, but I've never had this happen.
I'm like,
I know it does happen.
I should not have asked that leading question.
That's a good conversation. That's a good piece of because, you know, as an artist, you're always, you know, concerned about your work. I mean, you're always because, I mean, as an actor or an artist, whatever, we all have ego. Let's just know. I mean, come on, we all do. We all do. But I mean, right. Put the camera on yourself for a second there. No, right? Yeah, but I mean, the bottom line is that when you try to do something,
I'm listening.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm totally listening.
No, I forget what I was even trying to say. I was so distracted.
We have ego as artists, and other people can
Yes.
potentially use our work.
Yes, and the thing about it is, I mean, people might think, oh, he kind of overreacted with that, or he just no big deal. But it is a big deal, you know, because, you know, it's just rude for one, and it's just bad etiquette. You know, if somebody does something in your work and without asking, just that's the bottom line. Just like somebody, you know,
Somebody taking my image.
I love the way Glenn did that freaking role, man, and freaking.
I've seen, and
I'm gonna do it just like Glenn Heath. You go out there, this Glenn Heath. Wait a second.
No, but you know what? I actually would find that very flattering because they're not taking something.
It's imitation. It's not the same as the actual.
Now,
but in a way, you would be like flattered, but at the same time, be like.
Well, I made no money for Hair. I got a nice nomination out of it for Vegas Broadway World.
Nobody goes here at all.
This is how good my week has been. I've done a lot of shows in the last year and a half, and I got a little validation this week because I was nominated for two Broadway World Vegas awards. Best Actor in a Non-Musical and Best Featured Actor in a Musical.
Because you're badass.
And so it's and
What was the other one?
I was nominated for my
Hair
role
and
as
what?
Margaret Mead in Hair and John in Mammoth Soliana.
Oh.
And I come to find out that the person who nominated me is no one I know. And so that's a nice little validation for the work that I've done. Now, if somebody wants to go and look at my YouTube clip from Hair and try and imitate me, go right ahead. There's plenty of YouTube clips of people playing that character, and I did it my way. And if somebody thinks that my way is the best way to do it, then they're probably not a very good actor. And I say that because if you are going to be an actor and you're going to perform something, do it. Create. You have an opportunity to create a character. Do it. Don't take the cheap way out and play the drill instructor from Biloxi Blues like You know how hard it is to yell. You know how hard it is to yell at soldiers and tell them to drop in 220, and you have to use a Southern accent. It just naturally lends.
Can you do it for us?
Well,
Oh my god.
there is certainly a lot of yelling involved with Sergeant Toomey. So
I don't see what your problem with doing a Southern accent is. It ain't that difficult.
no, it ain't that difficult at
I
all.
don't know what you're talking about. You're going on there.
Murder, Sergeant Fire Mike. One I touched Toomey, I did some wine tying.
That's it.
Yeah, I did Boomhauer.
I was really hoping that was it. 'Cause that's brilliant.
No,
I
and
was thinking Good Morning Vietnam. Viva da name.
good morning, Biloxi. Yeah, I have a hard time performing for you, Sandy. I don't know why. My name is Toomey, Sergeant Merwin J. Toomey. You know, and that was
that's a nice
Yeah.
thing.
Very good.
oh,
I like it. I've seen Glenn do so many different characters from our improv days.
well, I get a little validation every once in a while. I got a couple people that are like, I didn't know that was you, because I change my look regularly.
Every time I see you have a different hat.
I had a coworker that showed up, and she did not know She knew I was in the show, but it took her a while, and she came after me after the show, and she's like, after my jaw came back up, I was able to focus, but because I had it, in Hair, I actually had hair past my shoulders, kind of like hippie Sandy,
Yeah.
and now I have hair like Arles. So
I still people tell, hey, do wingtip shoe. I mean, come on, really? That was like what Excalibur 4 or 5 years ago.
Wingtip shoe is
As an
Sandy's
Asian character.
go-to character for
Go-to
improv.
character. I
Yeah.
used to always do that.
When Sandy
But I didn't know what to do. I mean, just go to wingtip shoes, like just being Asian.
just middle of a middle of a scene, he'd do the
Not in the middle of a scene.
he'd unzip his wolf costume, become a
geez.
sheep, and start going into wingtip shoe.
That's what
We need to take another quick little break, and then we're going to come back. Talking with Sandy Stein, Jeff Strong, Arles Estes, and this is Curtain Call with Erik Ball.
Yeah, it hasn't happened yet to where I was.
Sarah's a loser?
Where somebody's used something I've already done.
It's gotta be uncommon, right?
It's gotta be
Las
on.
Vegas'
Yeah.
best sports talk. Keep it tuned
Yeah, it just
right
doesn't
here
make-
to the Sports Voice
I guess
of
it
Las
would hurt
Vegas.
more if something that you
AM
created.
1400.
Yeah,
Something
yeah, oh yeah.
actually,
Like for me, like if
more
like
something that you wrote. Something
I mean, I'd be mad because it's like, oh, somebody used my tracks, they didn't, pay me for it. Like, of course, I'd be mad about that. But for you guys, it's got to be totally different because it's like, oh,
Because we didn't get paid in the first place.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, do you guys? I know you get paid for playing, which frustrates me as an actor in town. Be like, these guys get paid money,
funny thing
but
is that
You think it's funny about musicians? You think actors don't get paid? I've talked to a dancer about getting paid.
oh, yeah, there it is.
unless they take their clothes off, yeah.
Hey now,
The funny thing, the sound designs that I've done where I've gotten paid had nothing to do with writing any music. It's just like tracks, guitar, horns, electric chair sound. It's just like that. I get
Sound
paid.
effects.
Like Atlas, I did the.
Welcome to the world of
I can't even think of the name of the show now.
a line of
The
products
pot
that
smoking
is
Reefer Madness.
Reefer Madness.
And that was a
Did
couple
you do
years ago.
anything
And I
for
got
Mockingbird?
$250. $250 to do the freaking sound design. I didn't do anything but just
That sounds like
to make
De
the
Niro.
sounds.
Oh!
But I spent freaking hours doing Hamlet, wrote 24 original pieces, didn't get nothing. So it's like, But still part of the creative process, though.
I hope you guys are at least having fun creating.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be doing it for what. That's what I was telling him the other day, or earlier, is that when you're having fun doing it, it's great. At least, like I used to always say, I'll stop doing improv as soon as I'm when I'm no longer having fun. So, remember, you used to always used to tell me that. But like, I'm not gonna say what show. There was a show recently that I did that I spent a lot of time at, really. But the experience of dealing with a certain person was just like so incredibly stupid and nuts. It just made it so unworthwhile. And at the end of the day, you're like, why am I even doing this?
They provide high quality.
Are you performing with any bands or anything? Or
Not really. I'm tired of bands, man.
just playing with horses?
I've been on that road so many times.
I haven't done anything like that in ages forever, but you saying I'm so tired of bands. Band is not something I would probably ever be interested in again in my life. The word project. Project, like, let's put together some musicians, write some
Exactly,
songs,
collaborators.
like, shows,
There you go.
record it and be done.
I'm into doing that.
That's
Done some stuff with some people in
657
California.
or visit them
But
online at
nothing original. I could do a
custom-heart.com.
disco show again.
That's
maybe, if I get paid for it.
custom-heart.com.
Tours North London, singing disco, big afros and stuff.
What's the number one killer of women? Well, you're still here, so that rules out crankiness.
I was gonna say HPV.
Billy White.
It's an expert.
If I were 80, totally be doing that.
Ew, Betty White. Great.
If you had the video, I could do my
We got 5 seconds.
my tip shoe, but it's my Robert De Niro, my Asian Robert De Niro. You haven't seen that? I'll show you sometime.
This is Sarah Salzford from Spelling Bee, and you're listening to Curtain Call with Erik Ball.
That's fun.
Welcome back. We've got a few minutes left speaking with some of Las Vegas's finest theatrical sound magicians.
That's a good term. I like that.
And you were laughing at the intro song. Do you know what musical that's from?
No.
Okay. We ask every week. And it's a big black man from the Full Monty.
It sounded familiar. It sounded familiar.
It sounded very familiar.
It sounded familiar, and I was like, I did a Full Monty project a couple months, a few weeks.
A Full Monty
You
project?
did?
Tell us about it.
Completely off topic, but yeah.
No, like the musical. Like it was like a year ago or something, and I was listening to the soundtrack, and it was they only wanted like one song, but I listened to the whole soundtrack anyway because I was like, I should know this show. It's a fun show. And then I was like, oh, when you said it, I was like, yeah, okay, the horns. I get it.
Who would have also accepted action sequence from I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker.
Black Dynamite.
Yep. Or Shaft. They don't make good exploitation films anymore like that.
Machete was pretty good.
Was it really?
Yeah.
I enjoyed Machete.
I will have to watch that
Something
one.
about swinging through a second story window off of somebody else's intro.
I remember that scene. I saw that scene.
It's pretty magical.
Was that a Pixar?
It was.
Yeah.
That was Pixar's latest.
Because they did the same sound thing like they did with Monsters Inc. when he swung out the window on the intestines,
You could hear him on
and it was in smell-o-vision too, so you knew exactly what he ate the night before.
I can pinpoint the duodenum going all the way around the back of my head.
Duodenum.
Duodenum.
So apparently he never had his appendix removed.
No.
Are we getting medical now? What is
Well,
no idea.
Random
We're
words
trying to kill
being
5 minutes.
random words being strung into a sequence that forms a sentence of somewhat coherency. Gentlemen, it's been incredibly fun having you here tonight and being able to talk about the work that you guys are doing, and hopefully that will spark more interest within the theater, because that's something that we're trying to do with this show.
I learned a lot today.
Because we get certain theater groups that have the larger productions. Las Vegas Little Theater is currently the biggest one. Signature is on its way back, so we'll see that. And then the big shows out at Super Summer Theater, and those when you have those large audiences, there's somewhat of an expectation to bring what you offer into a show, but instead every Oleana, we didn't necessarily have original music, but there were songs that were chosen for pre-show, and that kind of thing is done. But as far as creating a simple backing track, it doesn't get as much focus, and so hopefully having you here today will maybe put that spark into some directors out there who are, looking for maybe something unique.
That's really great. I mean, as we all know, a good review for a composer or a sound designer is not getting mentioned
Ever.
Or you get one sentence, and that's an amazing review. And it's not about reviews, but it's about awareness. And I think that it's great that you had us all here.
Yeah.
Maybe I was thinking about this the other day. This seemed to have gone well. What if you had a bunch of lighting designers or even stage managers in at the same time?
I've actually talked to a few stage managers, but interestingly enough, stage managers get to butt heads every once in a while, and so trying to find three stage managers in this town who don't hate one of the other two is a little difficult. But as far as lighting designers, they're boring, and
choreographers.
You got one. I mean, Jenna.
No, I know quite a few choreographers in town. Romel Pascon would be one that comes to mind. But yeah. Well, yes, and that's certainly something that we're moving forward doing. We try and get people in here maybe to discuss the shows that they are doing, because maybe there's something different that they're doing. So my three Brandons ideas,
That's great.
well, they are the fringe of directors in Las Vegas. Brandon Burke is taking the reins over at the Onyx Theater, but the Onyx is still relatively a fringe theater because of the shows that they're doing there. And then Brandon McClanahan trying to start his own group after
If they follow the serial.
yeah, and he was the artistic director for that theater company. And Brandon Jones is doing his own thing.
Right, director.
Yeah.
Playwright.
Excellent playwright. Award-winning playwright.
Yeah.
So getting a take on that is something that I'm looking forward to doing in the next few weeks if I can arrange their schedules. But yeah, absolutely. And Erin will certainly be on my list. I won't forget her like you forgot me. So last minute self promotions. I'll go through. Love Song opens at the Cockroach Theater in the Arts District. Next to the Artifice, the Art Square Theater, December 7th, running for 3 weekends in December. It is a very funny comedy. Myself, Brandon McClanahan, and sorry ladies, can't think of your names, but Erik Amblad directing. You can go to Cockroach Theater. Jessica Hurd, and another lovely lady. Sorry, I'm going to spend the next 5 minutes trying to figure it out. But Arles doing some original music for that as well. you guys are going to both of you going to San Diego, or just you, Brianna?
Just Brianna.
Yeah.
She's she's going she's going back for now. Just not sure what's happening.
What
I think Jeff's just working on expanding his library. The real goal in Jeff Strong Music is to create a massive library of most of the shows that
the common.
And
that was something I was going to ask, didn't quite get around to, but I figured in your spare time, when you're not working on somebody else's, you're putting the regular ones together so you can actually say, here are the ones I already have, so boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, and the biggest challenge I found, though, is I do a little bit of, I know we only got a couple minutes.
Oh, yeah, you're fine.
We got like I'll look at like what karaoke tracks are available, and I'll check them out to see like how accessible are they, how do they sound, do they have all the numbers, do they have transition times, do they have the right number of amps, and if there's one that's easily accessible for just about anybody to get, then I tend to put that show at like the bottom of the list. But for shows that have dozens of transitions and underscoring music and other things like Next to Normal or Little Women, or even Wedding Singer, I found 2 songs from the Wedding Singer that are available for karaoke, and that's it. And that show's like already in my library too. So people who want to do Wedding Singer are like, oh, where do we get this? You know, it's like,
well, where they can is jeffstrongmusic.com.
That's exactly right.
And I'll get to you 2 seconds, Sandy. Jeff, have you thought about actually doing karaoke type, like individual songs? You know?
Oh, that's part of it too. I actually had somebody this last weekend who asked for one song from Tick Tick Boom for his website, and I said, sure.
How are you able to? Well, I guess it's your own recording, so.
Yeah, it's just sometimes, and even sometimes I'll record, like I'm a guitarist too, so like if there's a guitar track and if it's easier than to MIDI map it, then I'll just learn it. I'll take a half an hour to learn the song or the score or whatever, or depending on how much time, and play it myself. And sometimes it's more time, it's more efficient with timing if I can play stuff myself, which I can't do all the time, but when I can, it's good.
Yeah. Sandy, just horseback riding?
Oh, actually, the Mineola Twins is actually performing at the Cockroach, and I did the sound design.
Oh, fantastic. I'm hoping to see that on Friday.
Yeah, come check it out.
We saw it this weekend. It was a lot of fun.
Good. Hello to my friends Aaron and Tara in that. Jen, you get the last word.
It's February 2.0. No, I'm kidding.
It's Don't Shave November.
No.
No shave.
No shave.
No, we're doing another cabaret over at the Bar and Bistro. It's sort of like a Jen and Friends kind of deal.
When is that happening? Because the first one was fantastic. So
thanks. Yeah, November 19th, 7 Bar and Bistro.
That's a Monday night.
Monday night.
Go for it. Well, that puts us at the end of another show. Again, I want to thank Arles, Estes, Jeff Strong, Sandy Stein, and our guests Brianna Daughtry and Jenn De La Torre for hanging out tonight. And we will see you next week for another round of Curtain Call. Maybe Erik will be back, maybe he won't. I don't know. This is Glenn Heath. We'll see you in the theater. Go support local theater, folks.
And we're clear.
Fuck, shit. Right?
Level at your system.
Titties!
Yeah. Oh, that was fun. Thanks,
Yeah, thanks for having us.
That was great.
All my improv helps in never having to worry about what I'm going to say next.
A script.
Yeah.
What the hell's a script?
This is good for something nowadays. You just not do much playing anymore.
Oh.
I've got to get a couple of things going, and then if you guys can hang out for a couple seconds, I'd like to get a picture with you guys.
Oh, I forgot. Jealous.
The touchscreen?
Yeah.
Sorry? You with Fire Rock? No, he was joking. But I know the bass player they used to play with him back before they were famous. Kelly Garning. Oh, yeah.
All right, everyone, say goodbye to the camera.
Bye, camera.
Bye. So sad.
Love this camera. This camera is sad.
That just stays. Hi. You stay.
Well, no, that one, unfortunately, I didn't. I lost the cables for this, so I just needed one, and this one does a higher quality. So, say bye.